Monday Morning Matters. Perspectives from Southeast Asia.
Hey, this is Arlene.
Hi, this is Gowri.
Good morning, this is Grace. And of course, with our second segment of today, which is our Monday Morning Matters. So in conjunction with the Chinese New Year, which is around the corner.
That's right, it's happening this week, end of this week.
Yeah, we are going to talk with two directors. They created a short film revolving around the blessings of Chinese New Year.
So let's say hello and good morning to them. Let's start. Hello, Linus.
Good morning.
And we have Mohd, Hisham, Saleh as well.
So
Hi.
just hi, just a bit of introduction. Linus Chung is the video director of the Malaysia airline video. Short film titled Blessings, and of course we have Mohd Hisham Saleh, the co-director. So welcome to the studio and hi.
Hello. Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, so perhaps a bit of introduction about yourself and about the short film Blessings.
I'll let Hisham start.
Okay.
Sure.
Blessings is actually part of our Keep Flying campaign. It's a content marketing where we uploaded in our YouTube Malaysia Airline, and then it is a continuous short film from our first short film, which is Terbang, was released in during Merdeka last year.
What about yourself? Tell us a bit about how you got involved. What do you do?
Okay, I'm heading a Malaysia Airlines social media team, where we strategize, we try to engage with our customer through social media, and then try to bring in current content, which is not just about airline. We try to bring Malaysian based content to our audience in YouTube.
And you, Linus?
Basically, I am a corporate filmmaker, a commercial filmmaker, as well as a short filmmaker. I started as a short filmmaker, and I've always loved films, and I love telling stories. So this is like an extension of my work, as to how I started. It basically started a very long time ago when I was 5.
When you were 5?
When I was 5. It started by playing with toys, actually. And then you wanted to tell a story with your toys. Everybody does that, actually. And then eventually you buy a camera, and then you basically just make yourself better and better at it. And then sooner or later you're making films. And then when Malaysian Airlines had an RFQ, and then they wanted to make a short film, and they selected me after the acquisition meetings and whatsoever, so we did this film together. Yep.
But why it centers on Chinese New Year? Why not other festival prior to this?
I think it first started, I think it's a 1 year long project, which is we started with Merdeka first, and then we had Chinese New Year, and then we see how does the audience engage with us.
So it's a series, is it?
It's a series. It's a series of a Malaysian story. So if you can see it from YouTube, it's actually we have the first Malaysian story, which is Terbang, and then we had Blessing, our second part. And if our audience love the idea, so we will continue further. So for further further short film. And then because why does you ask festivity? Because why? Because in social media we noticed that on YouTube it's actually generally people more engaged during festive season. They watch a lot of video ads, and then we thought that instead of doing a TV ad, why not do a short film where it get more content in terms of our YouTube video.
Tell us more about this Keep Flying campaign.
Keep Flying campaign is actually what happened is actually because of what happened last year. So what we wanted to encourage people to continue their spirit. What happened is actually when we did Terbang, we encourage people to fly high, to have high spirit, sort of give them the boost for to continue flying. And then when we did the Keep Flying, it's actually about giving them chance, like to pursue their what they wanted to do, all that, and then continue flying and continue pursue your dream.
It's an effort to revive the spirits and like the feelings towards life itself and stuff.
What's the story in Terbang? Just to recap back, what happened?
Terbang is basically a story about a boy and his reflection on his family. And how all our families, as much as we like to portray it as perfect on the outside, we all have like our little failings, like the typical dysfunctional family thing. So basically, it's basically about a boy who basically tells a story in class. This is my family, this is Merdeka, and this is my grandfather. And then how does it all relate together? Well, my family is dysfunctional, but it's perfect in its own dysfunctional way. And it's just about the key line in Terbang that we hope people take away is terus cekal dan terbang tinggi. So stay strong and fly high. So yes, no matter how imperfect you are, you can stay strong and fly high.
So it seems that even in Terbang or in Blessings, you focus a lot on relationships between family members, family values. Why does it center around that theme?
I think because I wrote the short story, I wrote the original short story of it's all about family, and then in
original short story for Terbang or for the
for both.
Blessings?
It's actually it came from a original short story that I write. It's actually about the whole family. It's about how Malaysian is actually a one family, and then we sort of like take part of the short story and then create it straight into the festive season. As actually.
Also, I think it's sorry. Also, I think it's that relationship is the core of everything.
Yeah.
It's like even there's two ways of telling a story, which is high concept or very like how you say about relationships between people. But even high concept is usually you have relationships within the story itself. You see, so relationships is everything. Yeah.
So how are the oldest responses from people so far after the first film was released and you're about to release this?
Okay, in terms of the what happened is during Terbang, we had the younger generation reach out a lot for Terbang. They tend to feel they are connected to Terbang. And then what happened when we finished Terbang, we wanted that how does we connect to the older generation slightly further in terms of focus on the relationship. So that's why we focus on Blessing. And then we noticed that it's actually for Blessing we get a lot more traction from older generation for Blessings.
Can you share with us more how does the theme of family actually relates to the different generation of Malaysians?
The theme of can you repeat your question again?
How does the theme of family relationship relates to the different generation of Malaysians?
Again, I would say that actually I'm sorry, this is a very generic answer, but the thing about it is that I feel that family, if you want to look at it, family is actually the source of all our inspirations. Relationships is also all the source of all our stories, and it's just about how we behave with other people. And then family, I don't think that family in a larger sense of things, it doesn't just extend to your brother, your mother, your grandfather. It also extends to the people around you, people who you worked with, people who you met, and basically the whole country actually can be perceived as a family. And hence how does it relate? I suppose it's kind of like it's kind of like the whole thing is encapsulated. You get what I mean? Yeah.
Even during the production, I keep telling Linus even though this is Malaysia Airline project, I think to them, you have to treat this as a family. Everyone is a family. The crew, the script writer, the people who push the rail. They are part of family.
In the production, we behave like a family. There was not so much of a hierarchy.
Yeah.
There's not so much of a hierarchy that everybody eat together, everybody just talk, and everybody
Yeah.
is just.
And that's part of the core values of Mars Airlines as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. This is it's about like when we wanted to do this, is actually we say that it's actually because we want to feel that Malaysia Airline is part of the family of Malaysia, so that we want people to feel that Malaysia Airline belong to you. It's a part of family. So that's why I approach it like instead of doing like a video about aircraft, video about going destination, sort of like that. So we say why not goes back to the core where it actually tells about the family that we are in Malaysia. That because everyone who fly with Malaysia Airline, they are they have part like story, like they're going for graduation, they're going for further their study, and then they go back home to see their loved one. So it's actually in any part of your life as a family, they tend to have that connection of flying to somewhere. So that's what we wanted to tell.
We will take one short break. When we return, we will talk more about blessings.
Monday Morning Matters. Perspectives from Southeast Asia.
Hey, this is Arlene.
Hello, this is Gowri.
Good morning, this is Grace.
And of course, continuing our discussion with Linus Chung, video director of the Mars short film called Blessing, as well as his co-director, Muhammad Hisham Saleh. So, let's talk about Blessings. Tell me, why you did this in the first place, like based on this theme of Blessings?
It's basically a sit down and trying to think about what would be a worthwhile story to tell, and what would be the best way to tell it. So since Terbang was a one-word title, let's also find something which is a one-word title because one of the challenges that we posed on ourselves was to actually follow the exact same format as Terbang. If you notice the Blessing, the way the story is told, is actually the same format as Terbang, which is we start with a flashback, we go to the present, we go back to the flashback, and we come back to the present, and we have a revelation. So having the confines of a format and wanting to come up with one title, we figured out that a good subject matter would be blessings. Because we were thinking, okay, we want to produce this for Chinese New Year. So, what is the most significant thing in Chinese New Year, which is the ang pao? And then we realized that a lot of people they don't really care about the ang pao being a symbol of blessings anymore. It's like I'm giving you an ang pao. It's like I'm blessing you. But now people is like, okay, how much did I get? Ooh, I've got 20 ringgit. Okay, and then the ang pao is tossed away. We never think about the person like blessing us with that amount. It's more like, ooh, I've got 20 ringgit. Okay, key into my system. This is, 20 ringgit, and then the ang pao is tossed away. So from that, we sort of derived the title. We sort of derived the concept that we want to go, and then we sort of like throw the ball around. Hisham came up with the story, and then again, from there on, we polish, we change, we this and that. Then suddenly we realize, why not we add a goat in, and before you know it, we have the story as it is, you see.
How did you come up with the story?
It's actually the funny thing. It's actually the family story. The original family story is actually came from the short film. From the short story, it's like how the relationships, all that. But in terms of adding the dramatization in it, what happened is actually like examples like how the doctor was like complaining. Also, it's actually one of my friend keep posting on Facebook that his daily life as dentist. So what happened is actually from there we get inspired, like like people tend to share a lot of their issues on social media, and then we added that into the storyline, that see how does like this is part of us, part of Malaysian, like
We love to complain.
we love to like
Basically, if you have no idea, the best way is to just go on social media and to read all of people's grievances and
yeah. So that's why we stick back to the originals, like why it's a social media video, because this is what you heard from social media. Like, you know, you went to the shops and then people say, oh, why you don't give discounts, sort of like that. And then, you know, like people about parking, people complain like about parking, that why you didn't park. So it's actually all the part of pieces of social media is inserted inside the film.
And aside from social media, if whatever the dentist is facing, like a naggy mother, rising costs, having to work harder, people wanting to pay less, and yet people wanting more, it is typical to everyone. It is to life, actually. It's true to
not
life.
just a Chinese culture or whatever.
It's not a
right?
Chinese culture.
It's
not
a Malaysian thing.
That's why it's actually what happened is actually when I did it, the content marketing strategy for Malaysia Airlines, we wanted to tell is actually not about festivity. It's actually about a Malaysian story as overall. But what happened is actually because we know that it's actually people love to see video during festive season, and then it's also because this year is actually year of festival, so we wanted to bring out like it's actually Malaysians have so many festivity.
But there's also a very clear distinction between the Gen X and Gen Y, and how the mother was content with being simple, whereas the son is overworking
The
himself.
son is Gen Y?
trying to-
I thought the son is older.
Actually, that's not quite true, because if you see in the film, what the son is doing to the mother is exactly what the mother did to the son.
Okay.
If you see that at the ending, it's like it's kind of like what I've just recently got a daughter, like 2 years ago, and then you've come to realize that things like, you know, like the reality of life, everybody has to go to work.
Yeah.
Right? And the funny thing about it is that when you are young and when you're a baby, you really, really want the attention of your parents. But you're as a parent, you might not have the time of day, you might not have the attention span. I mean, you have to think about so many things. Do you still really have that time for your baby? So as a parent, I face this myself. What time do I have? But if you come to realize, when kids grow up, they will in turn take that position.
Right.
But older parents would then reverse back and revert to a stage whereby they want the attention. So it's quite interesting in that way. So yeah, it's not so much like a contrast between the generation, but it's the generations is like doing things to each other. Like it's kind of like back forth kind of a thing.
Even if you notice in the smallest scene, like when the mother, the daughter is actually, she wanted to laugh, and then she's kissed the mother hand, and then she asked the boy to kiss the hand. It's actually a same way that we wanted to tell. It's actually even the smallest scene. It's actually we want to teach people. It's actually there is a relation between the older and the younger. The older will teach the younger generation what need to be, you know, like the right way to do it, all that.
So, how did you actually, you know, come up with? I mean, you already talked about coming up with a concept, but coming up with who should be the actor or actresses? Did you just simply pick anyone, or you actually did very stringent selection?
The script kind of defined. The script kind of defined what the actress or actor would be like, and then what I come to realize, forgive me if I'm wrong, is that there are very few really senior actors or actresses in Malaysia. So, I mean, if I was to ask you now, name me one elderly Chinese actress.
Actress?
Yes.
I actually have no idea.
you see. So the thing is that, so we reach out to casting agencies. We reach out on Facebook. We reach out, basically do scramble anything and anywhere to find that particular person, and it need not be a celebrity. It's basically whatever fits the bill.
Was it hard?
In a way, it was hard, but in a way, it wasn't. I mean, all life is a challenge, so I can't. I mean, I always admire construction workers and street sweepers. They work really hard, so I wouldn't say that this was hard. But it has its own challenges.
Yeah, it has its own challenges.
And when we found our actress, she was all good and well and everything. And then after we casted her,
She came to you or you came to her?
no. We put word out, and then she has acted in ads for other companies before, so she came for casting, and she was all good and well and everything. But then after that, she got a bit sick. She fell down and this and that. So she actually in the film, if you notice, the old character doesn't walk very much.
Yeah, that's true.
And the reason being is that before we shot, she fell down, and I was asking her, okay, on a degree of pain 0 to 10, and how bad is it? And she said that it's about 7.
Wow.
So that was kind of bad. So we asked her, like, would you still continue? And she said, yes, if you would have me. So it was kind of beautiful to have someone wanting to give that effort. So we continue with her, but we just have to work with the limitations that we have.
Changing, like the direction a bit. That's for me is actually because this is my second time in short film doing production. Is actually what happened is actually you got to be fluid in terms of like the production. You got, if you need the decision to change in terms of like how the direction of the film, like the shot, the angle, so we got to change it last minute depending on the actor, because as again back to the original, because for me it's actually we have to treat everyone as a family, so you have to consider every single actor.
And the storyline, you have a very interesting storyline that actually raised more question than answer. I think the first time, just based on my personal experience, I mean, being typical Malaysian, even though we live in a multicultural setting, I realized we have very little understanding of other people's or each other's culture, because the first question would be like, why this lady is wearing the head scarf, and why the son is the son looks more Chinese. Why they are celebrating Chinese New Year, and the relationship between other characters as well. But why you make it like that way?
It's funny how in life, when you would to see somebody behaving in a peculiar way, you wouldn't question it. You may bitch about it at home with your friends or with your wife, husband, your spouse. But when it comes to a film, when a character in a film is peculiar in any way, people will immediately question the intent behind the peculiarity. The character is peculiar simply because life in itself is peculiar. I mean, each and every one of us, you, me, all of us in this room have our own peculiar niches, like the things that we do, the religion that we choose to have. So we all have our own little, specialty, you see. So yes, the mother character is Muslim. You will find out in the next film if it happens. But as to, why is she Muslim and stuff like that, I mean, why not? You see?
I mean that's the one line that we had in the end of the film that say that blessing itself is the life itself is a blessing. So what happened we wanted to tell is actually like, everyone is different. There is unique in everyone's life. Life itself is very, very unique, that daily life. So what happened is that's we sort of built a superficial in terms of like how does people wanted to see it, and then but at the end of the day it's just about relationship between a mother and a son. No matter what religion they are, what race they are, it's actually back to the original idea, which is like it's a family relationship.
I think it's about time we look beyond just race and religion, because we are all, after all, just people, and we all suffer the same hurt, same desires, same, in a way.
But the context of identity also shows like how our reality is influencing us to adopt just one type of identity, which is either you.
Yes, but even within the concept of a one type of identity, say I'm Chinese, right? I'm Chinese, you're Chinese, and she's Chinese, but we behave very differently as Chinese as well, you see. So even within the context of a single race, if you want to look at it that way, even within the context of a single race, there are very much a lot of differences. So I think that we should just basically start embracing one another's in terms of peculiarities, in terms of specialties, rather than just, always trying to define the differences between us, you see. Yeah.
I know, but when I read the story, it's like I find that life is very beautiful. It's like, we have different, we have different kind of life in Malaysia. It's like, this is Chinese Muslim. This is like, the guy is very, very, a single man, and then they will like try to chase for, ambitions, all that. But it's very, very unique at itself. That's why we want to create a lot of question in the short film. It's actually for you to open an eye, see what's the people around you, and then what they have their life, which is very, very beautiful.
I think it goes back to what Linus was saying earlier as well. Why can't we just look at everyone as human beings?
Yeah.
Because in Malaysia we tend to do that. Whenever there's an accident or whatever that happens, the first thing we ask is, "Hey, was it Malay, Indian, or Chinese?"
Yeah.
Why
It's kind of sad actually. Yeah. But the thing about it is that in my upbringing, I remember my closest friend being an Iban, and because I'm from Sarawak, so the thing about it is that I've never seen race or color, and I've never had an issue with that. So I don't know.
But why do you think? Coming from Sabah and Sarawak, why do you think people in Peninsula have issues with race?
I wouldn't say people in Peninsula, but there are still people who have issues with it. I do have good friends in Peninsula who can just overlook everything. I mean, Hisham will tell you that he's got tons of Chinese friends, tons of Indian friends.
But do you think a lot of people in Peninsula have issues with race and religion?
I think they was guarded. You understand that they were guarded. They are okay with, like different race and religion, but they're still guarded. What I'm trying to get from the short film is actually, open your guard and then see it differently. Not see it differently, embrace that, instead of having a guard that you say that, okay, that's different races, different religions. Embrace them as normal human, and embrace them as, one whole family, as Malaysia.
One thing that I find very curious, we all travel, we enjoy to travel, we love flying here, we love flying there, we love to go into different countries, and the reason why we love it is because when you travel you see different things. Nobody wants to travel and say, "Ooh, this person is exactly like me." I mean, that defeats the point of traveling. So when people are different, we should be happy that they are different, right? The reason why they are different it provides us so much curiosity to observe them, to enjoy them, rather than, can you imagine if you're dating somebody identical to you? Seriously. I mean, every word that you say, he will think of first. Actually, that would kind of be like a nightmare. It would be like, you don't enrich each other anymore. And can you imagine if each and every one of your friends just does the same thing, wear the same shirt and everything? So actually, there is beauty in differences, you see.
Diversity
is the key.
Yes. That's true. But what's the kind of feedback that you get from your audience so far? Is it mixed, or is it like, wow, you guys are bringing out?
I think
something
a lot of
different,
people questioning, the relationship. Yeah, there's a lot of people questioning about the relationship. But that's I feedback from that we tells is actually is for you to to accept what kind of relationship they are in terms of that. The feedback so far we had is actually most people love the whole concept of blessing. There is still, you always get people who understand it and people who are, a bit, I call it, not say confused, it's like questioning why does we doing it that way. So far, the film, I think is to reach out to some people. It reach out. So that's what we want.
To everything, I think there will be always positive and there will always be the naysayers. Everything, everybody everybody will have somebody who hates them, you know, like. So the thing about it is that as artists, I think all you can do is to just practice. You just create, and then you put your work out there to be perceived by people, and whether they perceive it in positive light or otherwise. Of course, you hope that your work is perceived in a positive light, but whether or otherwise, you know, that's all you can do. I mean, as an artist, you put your work out there, and that's it.
We'll take another short break, and we will have more conversation with Linus Chung and Muhammad Hisham Saleh.
Monday Morning Matters. Perspectives from Southeast Asia.
Hey, this is Arlene.
Hi, this is Gowri.
Morning, this is Grace.
And of course, we are back again with Linus Chung and Muhammad Hashim Saleh, all both directors for the mass short film Blessings. So let's not talk about blessings, let's talk about Malaysians. As you all know, based on our earlier conversation, Malaysian are multicultural, but at the same time, we don't know much about each other. But if you can say one thing about Malaysian, you know, one unique point about us, you know, Malaysian, what would that be?
Hisham wants to say something.
Chinese who cannot speak Chinese.
No, it's like the funny part is actually when I did this, like when I thought that I told my boss that I'm going to do a Chinese short film, like to be fully 80% in Mandarin, and they will say like, how are you going to do that? You didn't speak Mandarin at all. And they said, never mind, we'll find actors, actress, and then we find the director who can speak Chinese. And then we hire Linus, and then Linus can't speak Chinese.
That's the stereotype, like if you're Chinese, you must know.
And then the Chinese singer of the song can't sing in Chinese.
What?
She doesn't speak Chinese either. And then we casted a few known actors. And they don't speak Chinese either.
Oh.
So he was like saying, what's his Chinese? You can't speak Chinese.
And then we go to the editing, and then the guy who do editing also can't speak Chinese. I was like, am I in the right world? Where
I think Dong Jiaozhong will be so angry at this.
No,
like,
but then that's why.
Speak Chinese can
Yeah,
be.
that's all about it. It's actually when I tell in the film, it's actually like you know, the mother speak in Chinese, they speak in Mandarin, and then the son speak in Mandarin, and say that it's actually you got to appreciate the language of everyone is special. Everyone is special, and then everyone is unique. So I don't know what happened at the end that we managed to produce speaking like 80% Mandarin film, but that's the challenge that I face.
I guess language is a matter of use, and it's a matter of like your upbringing and stuff like that, and nurture. Because the thing about it is that I'm actually a Hakka, but I don't speak Hakka. I speak Hokkien. The reason being is my Hokkien grandmother. I have two grandmother, maternal and paternal, and my Hokkien grandmother was way more noisy as compared to my other grandmother. So hence I picked up Hokkien, you see. So I suppose, and I speak Malay pretty well, except it's a bit baku. Because the thing about it is that I mix a lot. So I suppose language, mode of communications is about what you want to use, you see.
And I think in Malaysia, it's quite common for people to be able to speak multiple languages or understand multiple languages, even though it's not their mother tongue.
Yeah.
For example, Gowri,
Yes.
you're from Penang, right?
I am from Penang.
And you actually understand Hokkien.
Yes, and I can speak quite a bit as well.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Actually, my Tamil is not that fluent. I always tell people that my Malay is better than my Tamil because
Yeah.
I converse more with my Malay friends, and it's what we generally use while speaking.
Yeah,
every
Malay
day.
nice. Just kidding about it.
And then it's funny, it's like during the editing, right? We won't do editing, we have a Chinese translator.
We had a translator
all the time throughout.
And then we were like, what does this mean?
What does this mean? And then, like Linus was like asking, Hisham, do you need a translator? I said, don't need, because why? Because I keep hearing the same word that I understand the word already. The meaning of sometimes it's like that. The language, right, is not about, you can converse is actually you know from the word
It's
that
about
the
familiarity.
yeah, familiarity. And then when someone speak from the heart, you understand straight away what they wanted to tell.
That's true. In fact, Grace, even though you're Korean, Malaysianized Korean, you can actually understand a lot of Malaysian language, right?
Yeah, I mean, talking about language now, right? It's also the period that you are living. Like I've been here for 7 years, and of course, by hearing all this Malay tonation and the accent, even though I don't understand the language exactly, I get the vibe and then the whole texture, the context from the person. If that person is angry, of course he or she is gonna tell something in anger. Then of course I will get the vibe from that person. So it's something that you will get used to it first.
Mm.
I think that's what I wanted to add. It's actually like for us, it's actually when you go travels, embrace what's in the other places. Like you don't want, like, you go to Paris, you eat tom yum. You want to go to Paris and then you eat culture. You're hearing people speak in French, all that. So that's Malaysian is really a beautiful country. Like we have so many language, we have so many culture, race, religion. So I think that's what we wanted to tell at the same time.
Interesting. What are other interesting stuff that you wanted to portray in the film? Maybe not maybe subtly, not in your face.
Yeah, I mean the whole film is actually, it's about Malaysia Airlines family. There is a lot of story behind it that's subtle, like, because the film is not just about the audience outside, it's actually the audience internally in Malaysia Airlines. There was a lot of subtle message that we given, and then what we did is actually we sent out to all our Malaysia Airlines employee for them to see. Some of them, like there was one subtle, not really a subtle message, like, most of our cabin crew, pilot, like, they work during festive seasons, sacrifice that they made, like when they wanted to break, to go work, especially during festive season. So that's one of part of the message that I would say is actually what you do is actually you are you sort of bring up the family, even though you have to do your duty, something like that.
There's an earlier conversation I had with you during the break. You mentioned that you mentioned about family within the airline itself, and I remember being an outsider, it always come to my mind why Malaysia Airline is different from other airlines or even other companies is because it's not totally privatized. It's a GLC, and of course there are people who have reservation on GLC, but one thing in common, because it's a GLC, a lot of Malaysians see Malaysia Airline as if it's part of them. They criticize more on Malaysia Airline. They take it too hard more on Malaysia Airline, not because they dislike the company, but because they see the company as being part of Malaysian identity.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I keep telling this. It say that it's actually because Malaysia Airline is belong to Malaysian. It's belong to Malaysian. When we did one mistake, a lot of Malaysian would say, okay, that's wrong, what you do is wrong, all that. I think one thing for sure is actually like this: people love Malaysia Airlines, love the brand, and then when they comment our brand, it's not because they hate it, it's they love the brand, they want them to success.
So let's talk about fast forward later on. What's your plan later on? What kind of message do you want to bring later on after Blessings? If you want,
that's left to be seen, actually. Because the thing about it is that,
but will it be following the same
there's
team?
there's a good and a bad when you are working in a group, in this sense that I have a co-director, and on top of that we also have to consider the client's MAS view. So the thing about it is that with all this, it's kind of like it's hard to say what exactly we will be doing next. The good part is that when you bounce ideas with consideration for so many different points and stuff like that, the ideas has a bigger chance to grow, because it's kind of like, like I like something and Hisham doesn't like it. I have to reason with him why I like it, and then if he likes something, he reasons back to me. So it has this working dynamics, you see. So, but then again, it's kind of hard to answer a question as in what next, because I can't just tell you what's next, what is on my mind, because it may not be what's next for him or the brand or whatsoever, you see. So
Just go through a lot of
what's next? A lot of thinking, deliberating, and then something will come out, hopefully.
I think what's next is actually we have to sit down. What happened is actually we got one Chinese guy, one Malay guy, and then a mama store, Indian shop. So that is the place that we always met and then discuss about the script almost every other night that we go there.
I have a friend who I will always go to whenever we want a script meeting, and he's a very weird friend. So what he does is that he wants like 3 bottles of beer, and he gets like really drunk, and he comes up with all kinds of weird ideas, like, weird ideas. You see. And the thing is that it's very interesting, because the thing is that when I speak to him, right, and when I want to pay him, he doesn't even want the pay, and then I say, can you please take the pay, because everybody needs pay and stuff like that, right? And I have to beg him to get paid, and he's like, no, I'm just enjoying talking to you as a friend. And he just talks and talks and talks, and you know, like, he will come out with the weirdest of ideas. So
we are not encouraging people to drink, by the way.
no, we're not.
Just how we get his creative thought process coming out.
I mean, for me, it's actually like Teo Ice is my drink, and like
I personally don't drink. I personally don't drink.
And then Linus was like, Hisham, what are you going to drink? Like, we have the mama shows like Teo Ice. I need like 5 or 6 glass of Teo Ice.
That's where your creative process started
and then
to
we
burst out.
start talking, and
then when we asked him, you know, aren't you afraid of sugar? And then she said, I'm from Kelantan, I'm not scared of sugar.
Anyway, we are towards the end of our show. Thank you very much for sharing your views. But before we end this, final message for in conjunction with Chinese New Year.
I think for me it's actually I want everybody to look at the smallest thing and then find blessing in it, because you wouldn't know that, you know, like, small part of that things that you see is a blessing for you, either bad or good, is still a blessing.
Happy Chinese New Year, everybody. I would like to say that, you know, we should live in the present, because we will never know when it's kind of bad to say this during a festive kind of thing, but we will never know when our life will be extinguished. So go out there, travel, enjoy yourself, like appreciate the world. Don't let your, you know, like, prejudices keep you down, things like that. So happy Chinese New Year, and please do go watch the film. Go to Malaysia Airlines on Facebook. If you like the film,
Can
please
you give the link of the Facebook?
It's kind of
Facebook.com/Malaysia Airline or YouTube.com/Malaysia Airline.
yeah. And if you do like the film, please retweet it, share it on Facebook, tell your friends, share the blessings.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Linus
Thank you very
and Hisham.
much.